It's hard to remember the last time an AFL club put all their chips in the middle of the table and took big gambles to try and win the premiership. It's clearly what Collingwood are doing, and it's led by their senior coach, who has made it well known what he believes helps you win most when it comes to personnel. There is an admiration for how aggressive Collingwood have been in the past couple years acquiring talent, but there has also been some worry about the depths they have taken to win now and whether it might cost them further down the road. Harry Perryman was their early free agent pickup, but the marquee name the club traded for was Dan Houston. It was a bit of a roller coaster trade period for him, but he now lands at the biggest club in the competition. He is a two-time All-Australian, one of the best kicks in the AFL, and at 27 is right in the heart of his prime. But he does come at a big cost. In the three-team trade, Collingwood lose two solid depth players in Joe Richards and John Noble and give up their 2025 first round pick. Houston will pretty much directly replace Noble in defence and on paper gives Collingwood one of the strongest back sixes in the competition. It also leaves Collingwood with picks 52, 55, 58 and 88 in this upcoming draft and projected picks of 28, 46, 64 and 82 in the 2025 draft, but we'll get back to this soon. The driving force in the club to go all out and get these players is Craig McRae. Sure, everyone inside the building is in agreement, but McRae has been public about his want to get players to help them win now. A few weeks ago on SEN he said, "That's true, I'm a coach that wants to bring players in. I said that at the end of the season and it's hard. Such a hard market fishing from the same pond, but I don't want picks. I say to list management, I don't want picks, I want players. Let's bring players in and make us better. Not just any player, but players that are going to make us better." It's rare to hear a coach be this vocal, and McRae deserves a round of applause for being so direct to his own members and fans. On the other side, it does place a bit of extra pressure on him if things don't pan out too well. Some have suggested McRae is ignoring picks for a short-term sugar hit, but if anything, it points towards a culture he is driving at Collingwood of winning premierships rather than floating around the top 8. But as much as Collingwood have gained on the field, off it, McRae will be without some important help. Graham Wright is now the Deputy CEO at arch rivals Carlton. He was not present in 2024 at Collingwood due to taking a personal break, and his GM of football role was taken up by Brendan Bolton and Justin Lepich. Graham is a big loss and now strengthens a rival, albeit in a slightly different role. But quietly, the big move is Brendan Bolton. He has decided to go over to St Kilda and be a senior assistant under Ross Lyon, and it does leave a significant hole on the Collingwood coaching staff. Now they still have Justin Lepich and Scott Selwood as assistants under McRae, as well as other development coaches, but Bolton is highly regarded and a great get for the Saints. So far, the Pies have not found any replacements for Bolton and are still without a general manager of football. There is almost a Michael Jordan-esque last dance feel for Collingwood in 2025. If we translate all the AFL lists right now into 2025, the Magpies are the oldest for average age per player and first for average games played per player. All signs that point to going all in. This is an ultra experienced side with the best 22 on paper that when healthy is formidable. A good comparison is the 2022 Geelong team. The grand final side they put out that season is still the oldest side to ever play an AFL game. Perryman will add midfield depth and can still go back in defence, while we all know Houston is an upgrade on Noble, although he is no direct replacement for Nathan Murphy, which may be an issue if Billy Frampton or Charlie Dean aren't fit or good enough. It was mainly injuries that halted Collingwood in 2024, and all those players should be back. Tom Mitchell, Jordan De Goey, Jamie Elliott, Brody Myercheck, to name a few of them. It is a great starting 22 lineup that will be able to beat anyone on any day. but Collingwood will understand the risk in this approach. There are warning signs in a couple of directions. Let's start with the players there. Roughly 11 of Collingwood's best 22 next season will be at least 30 years old by the end of July. That is a lot of players with a whole lot of wear and tear. Factoring in injury history of Elliott, Cox, Howe and Mitchell, it has to be a bit of a worry during the year. We saw Geelong manage their team in 2022, and surely it's a formula for Collingwood to follow. There is also the potential for natural decline past 30, but to be fair, the Collingwood players that featured in that age bracket in 2024 were good, so it's hard to see any big fall off, but it's always a possibility. The other question with the squad is its depth, which does diminish when you aggressively target players like Schultz and Houston and pay Perryman big money. Now most AFL clubs have limited squad depth, it's the nature of the competition, but Collingwood might need it more than others due to the age of their starting team. It may also be a reason for them hunting mature age players like Tim Membry and Adam Tomlinson as delisted free agents. If 4 or 5 best 22 guys need a rest or get hurt, this next group of players as seen here is pretty shaky. Collingwood's approach to 2025 is a high risk and high reward one. Beyond 2025, even the most optimistic Collingwood fan would have a bit of uneasiness. Their list profile and draft capital after next season is horrific. Let's try to forecast the future a bit with this question. By the end of 2026, is it realistic that all of Scott Pendlebury, Steele Sidebottom, Mason Cox, Jeremy Howe, Tom Mitchell and Jamie Elliott retire? You would think around 4 of them would at the minimum, and then when you factor in that Hoskin Elliott, Myercheck and Crisp would be 33 at the end of that season, it's 9 starting players that would have some doubt over their playing futures. Retirements might even come as early as the end of next year. Why is this important? Well, first off, let's have a look at the list of players aged 25 and under, and who would be in line to replace the before mentioned players. It's got to be the worst in the entire competition. Besides Nick Dacos, who is the gem of them all, Isaac Quaynor, Bobby Hill and Beau McCreary, no one else looks to be a bona fide best 22 player in the future. Because of the all-in nature of next season, unless injury strikes, it's highly unlikely many of these under 25s will get meaningful AFL minutes to develop. It has to be a worry for list management in the back of their minds. To compound this, Collingwood have no top-line picks in this draft and for next year. It is important to mention 2025 father-son prospect Thomas McGuan, who may be a top pick in next year's draft. But besides that, the selection cupboard is bare, and say McGuan ends up going top 10, then the club will lose multiple picks to match a bid. With almost half the best 22 ageing players, no significant youngsters to slot in at this stage, and little draft capital to bring in players, it looks like a recipe for disaster in 2 or 3 years' time. Now it is possible that they keep getting all the good free agents in, and they nail players at pick 55 and beyond, but taking the chance of that happening every season will get you eventually. So Collingwood have made their 2025 bed and now will lie in it. They are dreaming of another premiership in the Craig McRae era, who himself is the frontline leader of this aggressive trade and free agent strategy. They will be a fascinating watch next season. They know they are going all out and know the consequences if the season falls flat and the future predicament their list is in.